Hello everyone, it's your curious curator Brian York here at the Strategic Air Command and Aerospace Museum. I'm standing in front of our little friend here, our B-36 Peacemaker, one of the largest combat aircrafts ever built. Now the B-36 was actually designed in 1941 when there was a fear that Great Britain is going to fall to the Germans. It was put on hold and then it was ordered in 1943. But unfortunately, the B-36 actually didn't have its first test flight until 1946, well after the end of the war. Now, it ended up getting produced and was picked up by Strategic Air Command in 1948 and served until 1959. The B-36 is so huge that if you took one wingtip and put it on the 25-yard line at the north end of the football field at Nebraska's Memorial Stadium, the other wingtip would go 5 yards into the other end zone. It is so long. That's 230 feet. It's so long. It's longer than the entire length of an SR-71, and it's nearly twice the length of the first flight of Orville and Wilbur Wright. The complexity of the B-36 is astounding. It has enough wire to wire 300 five-room houses, and it carries enough fuel to drive a car around the world 16 times. You've got 6 turning and 4 burning. That's 10 engines that the B-36 uses to get this giant beast off the ground. Now, it's called the Peacemaker, but a lot of guys say it should be called the Pacemaker. The B-36 engines in the early models had a tendency to freeze up. When they're flying at 45,000 feet, the ambient temperature is minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Air condenses to moist down to water, which then freezes on the engines on metal. And to combat that, what the engineers figured out is that they will adjust the mix of fuel to air for the carburetors. Now they had to be careful, because if they get too much air, it's going to freeze up, which then limits the fuel going through, and their engine's going to stall out. And flying a big thing like this, you don't want any engine stalling. Now, if they get too much fuel in there, what they run into is it starts kicking out unused fuel in through a superheated exhaust system, which tends to catch fire. Now that'll get rid of your ice problem, but having an engine on fire isn't good either. When the B-36 came out, it was deemed an interim bomber, and it was quickly outpaced by the B-47, a swept-wing all-jet engine medium bomber, and of course the B-52, the big aircraft carrying a heavy load a lot farther, a lot faster. Now our B-36 is a J model. That means it's a featherweight. That means they took out a lot of unnecessary things like extra guns and a few crew members to lighten the load so it could fly higher and farther. There were 33 of those made. Ours was accepted by SAC in December 22nd, 1953. It flew and was retired April 22nd, 1959, where it was flown into Offutt Air Force Base, and it was going to be used as what they call a gate guard. It's there to help welcome visitors and VIPs and new airmen coming to the base. It coincidentally also became the first aircraft that the SAC Museum had on display. Now, ours is one of only 4 B-36 still around today. I want to thank you all for joining us again today, and please don't forget to check out my blog where you can learn more about the B-36 and Project FICON.